good morning, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your faves Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade. And it is
Morning.
Tuesday, March 30th. And the month done. Tuesday, well,
Just
one
like
more
that.
day, but Tuesday, March 30th. The time is 8:05 a.m.
Yeah, Kevon, the month is actually finished. Like, just like that, we're going to match. That was fast.
So what March starts on what, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday.
You mean what in April starts? Match just did.
Yeah, when March ends on Wednesday, April starts on Thursday. Yeah.
Yes. Just like that, we're hopping into another month. Yay! We're 1 month down, closer to sugar mass if possible. I will always have my hopes up. Okay.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers, toes, and whatever else possible. But Kevon, before we start, right? I have a little thing that pissed me off today. I'm sorry.
Let's get to it.
But I don't understand. Why do we stand in the middle of sidewalks?
Oh,
Why do we have to place ourselves in the center of sidewalks? Like, we do realize other people use these sidewalks? Why do I have to walk down to you and you not move? Now I have to squeeze behind you or walk in the road? Why are we in the middle of the sidewalks?
in most countries, in most larger countries, there's a sidewalk, unspoken sidewalk rule. If you're walking, you'll walk on the left side of the sidewalk. Whether you're coming or going on the sidewalk, you'll always walk on the left, your left. Because if you're going up 4th Street, no matter which side you're on, you walk on the left because, you walk on the left. And if you're going down 4th Street, you walk on the left. That way people coming and going don't bump into each other. But for some reason, like you said, people just stand up in the sidewalk. They'll just walk in the middle of the sidewalk, strolling on their phones.
I wasn't even talking about somebody who is walking, and I'm talking about somebody who is like seemingly waiting on a bus or for some form of transportation or just waiting to cross the road. Why are we standing in the middle of the sidewalk? How is other people supposed to use it? Am I supposed to get knocked down now because you can't stand back or stand forward? Why? I swear, right? I only noticed this morning, and it pissed me off so bad. Because I'm literally stuck. And even if you're standing there, right? People are walking back and forth. You're not even going to ease up. No, I have to either go down in the road or squeeze behind you because you're just standing in the middle. Anyway.
And the thing is, let it be them. They're going to be the first to shout out loud, "You can't move."
And I even said, "Good morning, excuse me." And guess what? Nobody moved. Oh, Lord, y'all bullying me today.
Surprised.
But okay, I feel better now. I hope people who stand in sidewalks were listening this morning. In the center of sidewalks, I should say.
They might be playing it from the middle of a sidewalk, so...
Then I hope they move.
Hopefully when they heard it, they just stepped to the side. Well, step forward or backward.
Yeah. I know Azem usually does his shout out. I know Azem usually does his shout out, but today was not a shout out mood. I was annoyed.
I think we could shout them out. Let's shout out the people who just stand up in the middle of the sidewalks.
We are not supposed to encourage or reward bad behavior. Okay, I feel better for real. So, on to our agenda, Master of Ceremonies. Because we have the good doctor coming at 9 o'clock. So
yeah, we have our lovely friend Dr. Sebastian coming in at 9 because last time there's a lot to talk about, so we give it extra time today. But before we do that, we'll jump into some tea. Let's talk about former Minister of Education. He awarded 13 students with education scholarships.
Oh, that's good.
So the Deputy Prime Minister and former Minister of Education, the Honorable Sean Richards, presented awards to 13 students from across the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of education for their academic performance. The Constituency 5 Empowerment Award was the ceremony was held on March 25th at the Calvary Baptist Tabernacle in Sandy Point. Mr. Richards noted that he will continue his relationship with education because of his belief that education is the foundation for life advancement. He said, "I do believe that education lays the foundation for so many other things in life." The chair of the Scholarship Award Committee and the Assistant Secretary within the Ministry of Education, Patricia S. Dale, in her overview of the award said, "This award is meant to acknowledge the promise, potential, and it is also meant to meet a financial need to help families to support their children in their transition around the education system. The award ceremony is in its 4th year of service to assist the parents of students who are transitioning from one level of education to another.
Sorry
Thus,
about that.
eligible students..." What is that?
I laughed just now while you were reading, but I wasn't laughing at the story. Azem asked, Azem asked if he asked anyone to shake their pampalam for him. I hate him so bad. Oh dear, sorry Kevon for cutting you off, but Azem Azeming this morning.
Yeah, Azem doing Azem things. So, eligible students leaving preschool and transitioning to primary school, those transitioning from primary school to Form 1, transitioning from Form 5 to CFBC receive the scholarship. So it's any transitionary grades, which is grade 6 to grade 7, which is first form, and then preschool to grade 1, or kindergarten.
Nice.
And then
whatever it is, I'm happy
5.
These kids are getting rewarded for their academic achievements, because it always encourages them to continue to do what they're doing. And the kids now are way more advanced than they used to be. Like, they're doing things that I couldn't even... When I was like 13 and stuff, I was still watching like Looney Tunes and stuff. They're building robots and, coding and all these things. And they're just different kids. So I'm really happy to hear that they're being rewarded for these things. And I know it helps. Yeah. It probably helps them. And as our former education minister says, it's... He has a passion for education, and not because he transitioned onto something else, that doesn't mean that he can't still give back in that way.
Right.
So I am happy about this.
I am too. And, also the permanent secretary within the Ministry of Education, Mr. William Vincent Hodge, he appealed to the public to contribute to this initiative.
Oh, nice.
So as to extend its lifespan of service to the residents within the constituency. Mr. Hodge himself pledged commitment of $500 to each awardee transitioning from the primary level to the secondary level of education.
See, that money could do a lot of things.
Said, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So he said, "I have committed myself to give the amount of money that will cover the students going from primary school to Form 1 in high school. Each recipient will receive $500. I have committed myself to covering that group," he said. So he's encouraging others to, commit themselves to other groups, because there's 3 groups. The preschool to
primary.
That's group 1. Then there's the primary to secondary, which is group 2, and then there's the secondary to CFBC. So there's 3 groups.
Let me tell you something. And every time you transition, you remember how many things you have to buy. You have to buy fresh uniforms.
Which is great, which is why I said this is really great. Yeah. Because, you have to, like Jade said, you have to do all the uniforms, brand new uniforms on the gate. So
the 20,000 books.
You're in first form, going to second form, you just replace a few shirts, or you just get a bigger pants. This is brand new everything. And, coming from certain schools, you might be told to wear brown shoes, and then going to a next school, you might be told to wear black shoes, and you have to get new shoes, new everything. So
yeah. Good.
I feel like good initiatives. And I'd love if others can jump on board.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something that's a good process. I hope it grows and gets bigger. And yeah.
Well, speaking of kids, Kevon.
Before I get to that, Witty is asking how her Azem is doing.
He is fair to partly cloudy.
Yeah,
a few scattered showers here and there, but he will be back this week. Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
His weight loss journey is on it's on its final leg. I hope.
We hope so too. No idea.
Let's see. So
Yeah, speaking of kids.
So if you were watching our show or watching,
listening
social media platform, listening, watching, or any other, scroll on social media, you would have seen
anything.
Jeffrey Epstein situation, and the prosecution trying to figure out what's going on, and then we would have seen that Ghislaine, I probably still pronouncing her name wrong.
However it is here, because it's either Ghislaine or Ghislaine.
Miss Maxwell.
Miss Maxwell, yes.
She has been charged with sex trafficking of a 14-year-old girl, and this is news coming out of yesterday.
I actually think this is her fourth. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, this is all new. So Ghislaine Maxwell was the longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged on Monday for the first time with sex trafficking of a minor, as federal prosecutors accused her of grooming a 14-year-old girl to engage in sexual acts with Mr. Epstein and later paid her. A new federal indictment filed in Manhattan charged that on multiple occasions between 2001 and 2004, the girl provided nude massages to Mr. Epstein at his Palm Beach, Florida estate, during which he engaged with sexual acts with the minor. The new charges against Ms. Maxwell go further than those contained in earlier indictment that accused her of helping Mr. Epstein recruit, groom, and ultimately sexually abuse girls, but they did not include sex trafficking allegations. The new indictment says that after the girl provided Mr. Epstein with the massages, Ms. Maxwell or others who worked for him paid the girl hundreds of dollars in cash. A lawyer for Ms. Maxwell did not respond to a request for comment on the new charges. The indictment comes almost 9 months after Ms. Maxwell, who's 59-year-old, and who was also once a fixture on New York's social scene, was arrested in New Hampshire on charges that she had lured underage girls, as one of them as young as 14, into Mr. Epstein's orbit, which contributed to him abusing them. The indictment issued on Monday cites an additional 14-year-old girl who is identified only as minor victim number 4. So, progress with this entire situation.
Well, Miss Maxwell. I told y'all months ago when I watched this documentary, right, that it was a roller coaster because the people involved and the things that they did, it was like the only reason y'all being able to do this for so long is because of your status in society. Because Kevon, if this was a man on the road, a regular man, he'd have been in jail. If this was a regular woman from down the road, she would have been in jail. But because these are people who have such high links to presidents and former presidents and princes and all kind of story, there was just, they could have just do whatever, and money. It's funny because I'm sure these things happen even here in the Caribbean, but
everywhere, I'm sure.
I think the issue with the difference between the Caribbean and other places is that I think as remember when we interviewed Devon and he was talking about how ticklish journalism is in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a case of that as well, because we know we're so close to people that is like sometimes I feel like they can't really write about certain things, or they can't really put out certain things about certain people because of repercussions and these type of things. But I feel like one day we would get to a place where we just wake up and stories about these people are just plastered everywhere. Name them and shame them, as I like to say.
Yeah.
But she going jail.
This is a thing we've been following for a long time. and I'm glad to see that there's some sort of progress with it. Because
actually,
like we all were discussing earlier, we all were kind of not expecting her to last this long, because we know
let me tell you
when
something.
things like this happen, people start disappearing and people start showing up dead. So we
Look
weren't
here,
expecting
I
her to
am
reach this far.
shocked. I am shocked that she is still here, because we see what happened to her partner. Like this suicide. The alleged suicide.
So they call it.
Yeah, because I watched some of these evidential things, right? And oh boy, hold on. Kevon, it looks like people want to weigh in with us this morning. We have a call. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Hi, Jade and Kevon.
Morning.
Morning, hi.
I have a pet peeve this morning.
Is it people standing in the middle of the roads?
I mean,
the sidewalk, sorry. Okay, let's hear your pet peeve.
The moving back of the East Bus Terminal back to Baker's Corner, and the patrons were not informed.
Oh.
So it's like 1 minute is up by Hartford, another minute is back down by Baker's Corner. So couldn't someone from the traffic authority come on the radio and say, we're moving it back?
Yikes, and I was here yesterday. Maybe he didn't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. I mean, yes, they should have made some type of announcement. But again, I don't even know if they did, because I didn't see anything personally. So if they didn't, they should have definitely told you all that the bus terminal is being moved back to its regular location. Well,
So it's original
well,
location.
at least they know now, because you announced it. So thank you.
But thank you, caller. But I know the caller made a valid point. I'm not sure if the statement was made or issued.
I personally didn't say anything. So I can't say that they didn't or that they did. However, if they didn't, they should have. Because people need to know these things.
And I would hope that they also,
I mean, this isn't funny.
That they would let people know, because it would be horrible for people.
Let
to
me
be
tell you,
standing at the
Kevon,
bus
I would
terminal
be
being
pissed. I would be so pissed. Imagine I just come from work, tired and frustrated because I had a long day, to go stand up where I think the bus stop is supposed to be, and not realizing, well, is either I wrong or no bus is coming.
Right, you're just waiting, and no bus is showing up.
No bus.
They ain't showing up because they ain't working. They're just showing up because they're not showing up because they're not coming there.
Oh, see, somebody said that patrons were informed. How I stay in the US and heard it on the radio. See, it's why we can't just jump to conclusions, because next thing you know, we're out here looking wrong. But so apparently they did announce it. Maybe the caller just missed it.
Maybe, yeah. So,
thank you, Miss.
And this is why we keep saying there needs to be so many outlets, because we don't live in a society anymore where, upon time you got news from two places. It was either on the radio or you got it from newspaper. Those were the only two outlets. Now we have.
No, you forget TV, where we used to have like news on the TV.
TV radio, media, like the TV media, TV radio, like same channel. And then there's other option was newspaper. And, you kind of have to tune in every day to find out what's going on. Now there's so many places you could get news, like they need to take that into account and put them on the platforms.
I agree. You put it on social media. I feel like, I don't know, does the traffic department have a social media page, or does this fall under the police page?
Who knows?
But if there are outlets, like put it on social media, make a small graphic, send it around. Most people get stuff through broadcasts or looking at people's stories. Do that as well. I'm not sure if it was done, because I never.
Yeah, somebody else is saying the officer announced it on the show yesterday.
I forgot.
He said he wanted to thank businesses and patrons for the late notice and for being accommodating. He also said, but the person said, that being said, it could have been announced on more outlets, not just the show. I'm hoping that was the case.
Yeah, me too. I forgot that he said it yesterday. But use the multiple platforms if they're not being used, because that's how a lot of us get information. Good morning, caller. You're live. What's up?
Yes, regarding the bus station, would a simple sign at the entrance to the bus station not suffice?
Another
No.
great suggestion.
Well, I don't know because if I'm already at work, I don't know if I'm going to see the sign. But I guess for people who
No,
probably
what the person
traveling,
is saying, what the person is saying, and what I'm assuming it means is a sign at the terminus is not in operation. So if you show up
oh,
there, you will see the sign say, bus
oh,
terminal
okay,
under
okay,
construction. Please use the temporary bus location, Baker's Corner.
okay.
Just to let you know instead of you standing up there not
Yeah,
knowing.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I got
I
you.
think that's also a great option. But thank you for that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to inform people in multiple ways because everybody doesn't consume or get information the same way. So
Yeah, I think that would be one of the best options because if you miss the radio announcement, the TV announcement, then you probably would definitely see it if you show up to the bus stop and realize that there's a sign saying, "Hey, we're not in operation. We're now using Baker's Corner temporarily." But
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Come on. I mean, oh yeah, as we were talking about, sorry, I forgot we jumped into something else. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm very shocked that she's still here with us because these things usually get covered up. And even in a lot of cases here, a lot of things are covered up by ways of money and power and these kind of things, which they shouldn't be because we need to know. That's how we have a transparent, Yeah. You think that would change though? You think that could change? You think we could get that to a place where we're more transparent with people who do things that are in different positions of power?
That's a tough question. It would be nice, but the way this thing works, I don't think execution is a different story, because there are people pulling strings from so many different directions that you don't know. So
it's so wild to me that these things are besides because if it could happen in America, it could easily happen anywhere. And it's so fascinating to know that these things are things that actually happen on a day-to-day basis. We just may not know, but yeah, they do happen.
Let's see. Yeah. So before we take a break to jump into trash talk, talking trash, my gosh.
Talk.
Let's talk quickly about something that happened in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So residents of SVG are preparing for an explosive eruption of the volcano soon, according to a letter that was penned by the director of the National Emergency Management Organization, Michelle Forbes. La Soufrière has been experiencing effusive eruptions since December 2020, where magma breached the surface of the crater of the volcano, forming a new dome that continues to grow towards the north and the northeastern sides of the volcano. In early February, St. Vincent and the Grenadines were put on an orange alert level. Residents were told to prepare to evacuate at any time. Larissa Pugsley, Kidd of SVG TV, spoke with the people of the red zone communities to get their reports on what they have been experiencing. Based on the letter penned by Forbes, preparation for evacuations have been ramped up as she called for islands to start pledging support in receiving evacuees. St. Lucia has already answered the call. A March 28th article on News 784 stated that St. Lucia was stepping up its response plans in the event that it has to receive evacuees. According to Saturday's NEMA bulletin out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a period of elevated volcano tectonic earthquakes began on March 23rd and reportedly stopped on March 26th with a magnitude 6.0 earthquake that was reportedly felt in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and SVG. So,
let me tell you something. The anxiety of the people who live in St. Vincent, right?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine having to every day wonder if this is the day that this volcano is going to erupt. Every single day, because we see it growing and growing and just getting wider.
And I think what's now scary is the fact that they said it's going to be an explosive volcano, not just
Like,
an
y'all
explosive
just making it
eruption.
worse. I'm sorry.
Not just one that starts running, the small eruption.
Oh my
just
gosh.
running down the side. It's an explosion. So,
No.
Uh,
This is
Yeah.
boy, this would just got me uneasy. Every single day I would wake up just being uneasy because you don't know
you
when.
say every day you're gonna wake up. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
That's true. You're gonna get tired eventually. If you ain't sleeping for so many days, you're gonna get tired. But I just, boy, that's a tough situation to even think about.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow the story to try to give you any updates.
And we would
and
really hope and pray that this doesn't erupt in a way that.
Right.
But we aren't the professionals, and the professionals are saying something different. So 2021, boy. Remember, you're supposed to be better than 2020. Don't do this. You go. You was 2021 off to a bad start?
Yes, but we'll also try to monitor the regional response to this, because I think if the entire northern part of a country has to evacuate, it can't all relocate to the south.
And I'm sure they're still dealing with corona as well, like a volcano and
It's going to be interesting how this plays out, because if they have to evacuate, they're going to have to be relocated in multiple countries, and then with all the COVID protocols in place, they're going to all have to go through that quarantine process.
Oh yes.
They can't just accept them into the community, because then you run the risk of community spread. So I'm actually really interested to see how this is gonna pan out, if it really boils down to that.
That is so true.
Let's hope it doesn't.
I didn't even think about that extra part, but yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I am just hoping
big heavy sigh.
Big heavy sigh. There's so many layers to this. This isn't them just dealing with a volcano or having to evacuate or having to figure out a plan for residents of a country. You still have to throw in this little plot twist with corona that if they do have to evacuate and they have to go to other people's country, then they still have to quarantine, which means the countries have to find places to fit these people, plus the people that they have to deal with in their own country.
Yeah.
The same.
But it's a break time. Are our friends ready?
Yes, it is break time.
So we'll take a very, very short break, and we'll come back to more Island Tea on WINNMedia again. So we will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
If you say you love your little dear country, try to do something positively. Be a watchdog for the environment. Don't leave everything to the government. We dump our garbage anywhere, lit on the streets everywhere. Our behavior is telling me that we really don't care. Take some pride in your country, volunteer to clean where it's dirty. Tourism development needs a healthy environment. Whenever we litter, we threaten our survival. So those who engage in it should be treated like criminals. So don't be afraid at all if they call you an informer. Report those who endanger our future. So if you really love this blessed land, this situation demands attention. Think about the future generation. Do what we can to preserve this island. The laws for littering we justice take its course. If you are a proud citizen, you have the right, you have a reason to save this land from destruction. You have an obligation to become involved in anything which affects this nation.
The Solid Waste Management Corporation, SWMC, is working hard each and every day to keep St. Kitts clean. Our primary mandate is to collect household waste while maintaining the engineer sanitary landfill in Connery. While it is the responsibility of businesses to see to it that their garbage is properly collected and disposed of at the landfill, the SWMC offers a commercial waste disposal service with our Nosy program. We also offer a bin rental service where persons can rent large bins to do community cleanups or other waste disposal activities. Additionally, our headquarters in Taylor's Range include state-of-the-art conference rooms for rental. So when you're hosting another event, consider using the SWMC conference facilities. We want to continue serving you by keeping our environment clean, because at the SWMC, waste matters. For more information, call our office at 465-9507.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. A pleasant morning to all our listeners. Welcome again to another edition of Talking Trash here on WINN FM. I intend to be with us this morning as I am sitting in for Miss Lake, who is otherwise engaged at this particular time. And so let me take the opportunity then to welcome all of our listeners and hope that as our deliberations go through today, that we certainly can learn something new again from you, and the information that we have to pass on, we can hope that it is well received. My name is Keith Phillip, and I will be here with you for the next half an hour. I will share a bit of information that the team passed on to me and asked me to share with our listeners this morning. One of those areas that I was asked to deal with is that area of illegal construction. Well, not so much illegal construction, but the illegal disposal of construction and demolition debris. Construction and demolition debris, the illegal disposal of that. And what we have found is that there are a number of areas where buildings are being erected, and persons have a tendency of putting the waste, the concrete, etc., the paint tins and the boards. They generally put them in a heap, and then they make, in most cases, provision is made for them to be disposed of at the landfill. But what we have found is that where there are smaller construction being done, normally it is normal for persons to leave the waste right beside the house or right beside the area where the construction is being done. That is one of the areas that we are appealing to contractors, builders, home owners to help us in that particular area and in this regard. The second thing is that what we have found is that throughout in the Connery Beach area, in the hills, we have found an inordinate amount of construction debris. It seems that persons, upon the completion of building, and whether or not it is done by the homeowner or the builder, whether or not the builder is being paid as part of his retainer to dispose of the garbage, what we have found is that these garbage have been placed and disposed of in the in the forest, in the hills, and close to the seas. We have also have instances where persons, in their sense or common sense or lack thereof, would have deposited items such as steel and blocks on the beach itself. And when I say on the beach, I'm talking about the stony areas of the beach. And so when you walk the beaches, you run the risk of being injured from the steel and etc., glass, etc., that persons have placed at the edge of the seawater. So that is one of the areas that we really do have a concern with, and we are asking persons who are building, especially persons who have retained builders, please ensure that the builders take the items, the building waste, to the landfill, so that we can, at the landfill, have them properly disposed of. It is really becoming an eyesore, and we recognize this also in 2019 when we had the roof program, where when we go on our inspections into the mountains, etc., we would see a number of roofs that were persons would have taken them off, and we would see them just rested on the side of the road. But I'll continue that discussion because I understand that we have a call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Talking Trash.
Yeah. Good morning, host guys.
How are you today, sir?
Oh, I am good, man. I'm good every day.
Excellent.
Every day I'm getting gooder and gooder. And good morning, Keith Nairobi.
My friend of many years. Good morning to you.
Yes. Well, the first thing first, I talked to you about your telephone problem. No, I'm speaking on the phone to the radio. I talked to you about the telephone problem at the business, solid waste.
Yes, sir.
And if that phone problem has been fixed, there are many persons could have called you all and tell you all what is going on. So you have to get that telephone fixed. 466-1798, especially that one day.
1798. Now let me give you. I'm going to give you one that is better to call. But continue.
Yeah. Anyway, let me go here.
Yes.
Now these things where people been dumping all kind of garbage, rubbish up in the hills, the bottom of these mountain hills. We all know the road that they drive to go up there. Even up the college, got the west of the airport. When you're going to be on Shadwell, many a times people who live in the area, they tell you, they say on the radio, they see vehicle in the night come up there. And that is not pitch road for vehicle to go up. So when you see them in the night, you know it's something illegal they're doing.
Yes.
Now, there has been many talks about these problems and people doing these things. Since in Bridges's time, Keely, it is time for you all to get police. Not necessarily them who got on the point on the hat. Hire people who concerned about the country. I hear a guy in Irish don't call you all one time and tell you all he's willing to work with all for police, even if for free. We need to do that because these people, it ain't here they want, to hear why you're telling them this is from doing it and stop it, They're just worthless and deliberate, and this why they ain't care, and they're going to show them where they want to show them and hold on the people money. Why the people pay them to throw away the garbage. You stop talk.
Exactly right.
Get them down there, boy. Limo house. It's 3 courthouse they got down there now. And they got too many cases pile up. Pile up with all kind of crime happen. And cases pile up for 3 and 4 years before they try them. Don't go in the gang and pile up nothing. Get them down there.
Yes, sir.
The place supposed to be clean.
Yes, sir.
And if they were dirty up down and Irish down by the front of the country, where's they going to dirty up? Thank you, Keatle, for listening.
Yes, sir. The telephone number, though, that is 465-9507. 465-9507. Could you try this one? And this is this is really our main line. So I'm asking persons to try that one, and we'll see the action. But let me express my thanks to that caller. And I live in an area where anytime I hear the rumbling of a vehicle, I look out, because a lot of illegal, attempting illegal dumping is being done in that particular area. And so we understand, and on numerous occasions we've asked persons, to assist us. The team assists the solid waste team as we come out, and persons, I don't want to snitch, but so we can only continue to hope and do our due diligence, and hopefully we will continue to make the inroads. But I can say that in 2019, as it relates to the roofing material, we were able to carry a few people to the court. And so, because we received videos from some, persons in the neighborhoods, and so concerned neighbors, we received videos from them, and so we were able to carry that matter to the courts. And so we want to thank all those persons who really, with love for country, and country above self, would really continue to assist us in those endeavors. And so thank you very much for caller for shedding the light on that. So the telephone number, 465-9507. And as it relates again to that person who requested to assist the solid waste, we understand, but such assistance cannot be done until that person has been gazetted. And we are in the process of putting a listing of persons together. We have already from 2 corporations, and so the training on that and the approach for having them gazetted will be done within the next 2 months. So thank you very much, caller, for drawing that to our attention. All right. Now, Miss Lake had a very interesting discussion last week, and she started by saying, discussing the changes that we have been making at the Solid Waste Management Corporation as it relates to our collection. As you know, in 2018, I think it was, we had moved to 2 days per week collection, and that intended for us to ensure that all the persons has been collected. We have right now about 95% collection rate, or that is rate of collection. So we collect about 95% of our waste. There are some, I'm talking about household waste. There's some that still, persons still insist on instead of taking it to the landfill because it's free. Your household waste taken to the landfill is free. But people still insist of just, driving across the road and just tossing the plastic bag with the waste, in some bushes. And after a few days, if a dog gets to it or, the sun melts it, then and dries it out, then we have the problem of having the stench and the waste, just thrown around our country. And so
I was about to say, not only that, it often goes down to the water, and then now we have a bigger problem because, the fishes and all of that we're supposed to be eating is contaminated.
Well, that is so true, and and that is an area too that we are so grateful for all those civic groups and civil-minded groups who have taken the mantle and has organized, week in, week out, beach cleanup, and and the solid waste assists as often as we could by the provision of bins, etc. But so that is really a very good initiative, and so what it does is that it helps to, or it mitigates against the plastics that goes into the sea. And I had the good fortune to did some studies, and one of the things that we were looking at is one of the birds. And the bird, the craw of the bird, the craw was filled with plastics. And so, the bird is killed, and then we ingest that and stuff like that. So, I'll get back to that discussion. We understand that we have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're on. Welcome to Talking Trash.
Not long.
Yes, sir.
Idly, lab breaking, multiply by lab breaking equal non-stop lab breaking. Do you know why? Because they're not being penalized.
Yeah.
And who's supposed to penalize people who break the law? They see them, they hear them, they smell them, they know them. They turn in the back. And so therefore, the law breaker, when he realizes that he do something wrong, and who's supposed to enforce the law on them, ain't do nothing, he can continue and he can go boss and say, man, study them, the man. You know, see when me show me thing there, so. Man, dump your thing there. So who ain't enforcing the law? They too are one of the problem.
Yes, sir.
Them there. Because you can't see something wrong and you're supposed to stop it and turn your back like you don't see nothing. And when you call them, tell them where you see them and tell them, oh, call over so and call down so. Call what? A police is a police. 24/7. You ain't went in a train. None of them went in a train for traffic and one go child for go train to pick up child support money. All of them get the same lesson the same time. It's only when they pass on now, they dispatch them in different places. So that's one of the problems.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for your observation, and that is so correct. Well, we have on a week to week, we have been issuing tickets, we have been summoning people, we have been going to the courts, and persons have been paying monies. And so, we continue to be vigilant in our pursuit of ensuring that our neighborhoods, our country is being kept clean. The team has asked me to just share a bit of information with you, which I would do so quickly. There will be no collection on Good Friday. There will be no collection on Good Friday, as is our practice. And so all collection that would have generally been done on Friday will be done on Thursday. All right, there will be no collection on Good Friday, so we are asking householders not to put out your bins. Please do not put out your bins for Good Friday. There will be no collection on Good Friday. The next collection day will be Monday, Easter Monday. As it relates to Easter Monday, the changes that we have made at the Solid Waste Management Corporation will commence on Monday the 5th of April. And on that day, the urban areas, Bastille and the built-up areas, the urbanized areas, the collection for those areas will continue twice weekly, while the rural areas, where we have found out, our data has indicated that the collection of waste in the rural areas is not as big on the second day. And so we are dispensing with the collection on the second day for the rural areas. So the rural areas, we will only be collecting in the rural areas once, and starting on Monday the 5th. I do not have the entire listing with me, but you can call our offices 465-9507 and ask for Miss Lake or Miss Tayasha, and they would be more than happy to assist us. So there will be no collection on Good Friday. Good Friday, there will be no collection, so we are asking residents not to put out your bins for Good Friday. We would not be collecting any waste on Good Friday, please. So your next collection day would be on Monday the 5th, and on Monday the 5th, we will be starting the collection, the new round of collection. In the rural areas, we'll be only doing that once, but in the urban areas, we will continue with it twice per week. And then the waste that would have been the waste for Friday, we would collect that on Thursday. All right, so we're asking persons to assist us, please. And if in your area you find that, okay, that your waste may not have been collected by afternoon, by 1 o'clock, please give us a call, 465-9507, 465-9507, so that we can ensure that something is put in place so that we can collect your waste on Thursday. All right, we understand that we have a call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Talking Trash.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Yes, sir, good morning to you.
The whole family circle around here.
Yes,
WINN
sir.
FM.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, I will say one thing. I think it's too much of talking. Actions speak louder. And every village could have a representative of, okay, people that say is right, But I will take this job of ratting just to keep my country clean. In terms of people throwing the waste and getting paid, and then they're going to dump their stuff in the cane field and in some bushy area. I take a walk at time through Newtown, through Pans, in like between them cane fields, just take a little walk. And from say, today boy, 7-day Adventist, go right to the King Collins area. You know what stuff I see in them glass there today?
Yes, sir.
Come on, man. So put a representative out of every village and give them a little money. Like, it don't work. Because you ain't gonna get, when you get catch and you got to pay this heavy penalty, you ain't gonna want to do it again because you ain't gonna know who's watching you. It could be your own friend and all. Because these people is a willfulness. If you see how should these place look with these garbage, it's willful. I don't want to give you a work to throw my stove, my bed, etc. Give you money, and I don't want to see my things them in the bush. I don't feel away even though if I pay you to do it. Because it's my stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So get on the money thing. It's just a little money.
Okay, sir.
People gonna work because they have to go on the main before they go through in these places. So from you see a truck go through with these stuff, you follow it and you must get the person. And then we deal with it. You think it's so smart for this. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation, and we're trying to keep the place clean and nice for the youth that are coming up because it's corona thing and people still doing these stuff. You get paid to go landfill and do your work and give the money. The money gonna come back somehow. But just do the right thing. It's just people ain't doing the right thing, yeah. It ain't all about saying it is a dirty place. It's just people is not doing the right thing.
That is so correct, Carl. That is so correct. You're right about that.
Yeah. It's big people doing this stuff, yeah.
That is correct. That is true.
Big man who getting paid, won't go and trade in.
Yeah, you're surprised to see some of the people who are
doing
it.
Them kind of stuff.
Yep.
Come on, man. Bring them some heavy penalty on these people. Get some people to watch them. You got people we stay up from 10 o'clock till morning just to do this work. Just give them a little money in the hand and you see they ain't going to want to do it. And you see them on the main, you chill them. If they ain't in Canary, well, let's solve which far they go. And deal with them heavy.
Yes, sir.
Full time now, man.
Okay. All right, Carla. Thank you very much. Just to let you know that we have persons in communities who are working with us. We have that in place. So, you know, that has to be on the wraps. So, and that is why we have not said anything about that. And you indicated, you know, about the area that you walked, you know, that area from the Seventh Adventist Church. You would be surprised as to the amount of times that we have cleaned in that area. The amount of times we have cleaned in that area, and you go back 2-3 months later, inside there is infested with garbage. You know, over on the other side now, on the other side of the road where I think the Department of Environment has adopted a particular space over there, and it's clean. Over on that side, you do not see the buildup of garbage because over there is clean. Over there is clean, and so, you know, if the powers that are would, you know, clean the area that you're now speaking about, then it would deter persons from going there and dumping. We have a call. Caller, you're on. Good morning. Welcome to Talking Trash.
Kidley.
Yes, sir.
The caller there before me just now, that is the individual I was telling you, willing to do any work for keep the country clean.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And I support him 200% and more percent. The man is correct. Kidley, a years now, me know what's going on up there in them Pans area between them road there. No, because the road easy to access.
Yeah.
And they're going to just drive through there and then do what they got to do. And the solution is not so much the cleaning up, you know. It's catching the culprit.
Yeah.
Catching them. You hear what the man say? They don't talk, people that talk about your rat. Well, he rather to rat to keep the country clean and healthy.
Yes, sir.
This thing is serious, you know.
It is.
We need to stop talk. Because they don't got no talking competition in Olympics. Otherwise, think it will win all the gold medal for that. We need action.
Yes, sir.
Set out people there. Pay people the little money, let people go in, because people want money now. This thing must stop, man. I get emotional every time I think about that day, anyway, let somebody else come in, man.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Just want to continue making that last point. And again, we do appreciate the callers this morning who really have been going above and beyond in assisting us to ensure and to spread the message. So I know the callers, get kind of, flustered or concerned when we do speak. But our speaking really is to continue to bring awareness, and it has to be reinforced and continually reinforced. And so, we do appreciate the callers and the contribution that they continue to make weekly. So let me just quickly, by way of recap, speak to those persons who are involved in the illegal disposal of construction and demolition waste. We are asking kindly for you to resist the urge and to bring all of those waste to the landfill at the solid waste. There will be no collection on Good Friday. However, the waste to be collected on Good Friday would be instead collected on Thursday, the day before. And so we are asking persons, please, to work with us in this regard. On Monday the 5th, starting on Monday the 5th, the urban areas will be collected. We will continue to collect in the urban areas twice per week, but in the rural areas, we will now switch to once per week, and that would be your primary day, the first day. And so we thank you very much for listening to us this morning, and for those who called in and contributed to our program. We certainly do appreciate you and appreciate the concern that you have in keeping our country clean. Thank you very much. God bless, and we will see you again next week, Tuesday at the same time. Have a great day.
Okay, guys, we will be right back with more Island Tea right here on WINN Media SKN. Stay tuned.
Your little dear country, try to do something positively. Be a watchdog for the environment. Don't leave everything to the government. We dump our garbage anywhere, lit on the streets everywhere. Our behavior is telling me that we really don't care. Take some pride in your country, volunteer to clean where it's dirty. Tourism development needs a healthy environment. Whenever we litter, we threaten our survival. So those who engage in it should be treated like criminals. So don't be afraid at all if they call you an informer. Report those who endanger our future. So if you really love this blessed land, this situation demands attention. Think about the future generation. Do what we can to preserve this island. The laws for littering we must enforce. We have to let justice take its course. If you are a proud citizen, you have the right, you have a reason to save this land from destruction. You have an obligation to become involved in anything which affects this nation.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening now. All 2018, 2019, and 2020 models gotta go. Yes. Come to Horsford's Automotive and get $10,000 off select 2020 models. That's right. Horsford's Automotive is making room for 2021 by offering $10,000 off select 2020 models. And that's not all. Come now and get 0% down payment. No payment until May 2021. $500 in free groceries, free servicing for 1 year, free bill of sale, free tinting, free registration, free accessories, and free licensing. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go clearance sale. The biggest clearance sale event of the year. Select 2020 vehicles, price to go. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves Kevon and Azem featuring Jade, and it is now time to jump into Eat Local with our great friend, Dr. Sebastian. Good morning.
Say it again, sorry.
Oh, so welcome back to Island Tea with your
Kevon, I didn't mean you, but okay.
It is oh, okay. Well, yeah. All right. Great.
Yes. Good morning, Doctor. Welcome back to our program. Kevon, did you hear that?
Nope.
Is it me? Oh, it was me. Okay.
Probably.
Hey. Okay. I can hear.
There we go. There we go.
Azem, hurry up, come back, please, and stop having me doing these things.
So, question: do I have the record for the most appearances on Island Tea?
Oh no, Shannon has you beat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shannon has you beat by miles.
No, but I think he might be second. You know.
I'm second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know you're second.
I'm thinking about it, and I think you're probably in second place, but you're still beaten by Shannon.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could touch Shannon's record right now.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Okay, it's something I'm not gonna aim for then.
Yeah, it might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. We don't know, but we're going to figure it out because I know people have lots of questions. So
yeah, definitely.
We'll see how many of them we can answer today.
Definitely.
So, Doc, how has it been going? I know we saw you like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Well, we've been making progress in terms of how many individuals get vaccinated every day. So right now we're at a steady between 150 to 200 people per day that's getting vaccinated. So that's not bad.
At all.
You know, but we would have to keep up that momentum to get to our goal. You know, the 70% or the 33,000 individuals. Hopefully with these education sessions that I've been doing and my other colleagues have been doing can hopefully speed up the process. But again, people have a lot of fears and concerns, and, you know, we have to answer those fears and concerns that they're having so we can get to that goal.
Well, what has been in your opinion, the biggest fear that people has had about the vaccine that you have to constantly reassure them about?
Well, honestly, they're afraid that the vaccine will do something to their bodies, whether it is infertility. A lot of women ask that, especially women who have had no children. I mean, the blood clot situation, people still ask that, even though that's mostly been cleared up, that it doesn't cause any blood clots. People just generally prefer not to take any medication at all. You know, they believe in their herbs and stuff like that, and taking vitamins and those type of things. Some, I guess, more natural remedies. Even though those natural remedies do not stop you from getting an infection and the complications afterwards. But those are the main ones I've been hearing. But usually after an individual takes a vaccine and they get over that first 24, 48-hour period, they're like, oh, that was it?
Yeah,
and
they didn't realize that it wasn't going to be this big thing.
Yeah, it's, you know, our imagination tends to run wild, you know, before we do something.
And with the help of social media and all the wrong things that they find out.
Yeah. Yeah, social media has been probably the biggest hurdle. I mean, so much incorrect information can spread so quickly. If you look at anything, if you look at your WhatsApp, you'll probably see forwarded too many times from some type of post about the vaccine or anything really. I tend to try to avoid those things because I know that, okay, this is mass hysteria.
That is, that is something that we often talk about.
Yeah.
So I want to take a moment out to address a question that we had posed on the stream a few days ago.
Okay.
Well, last week, I think it was.
Okay.
So somebody said that they find it strange that if no one takes the vaccine, let me rephrase that because I said something wrong.
Okay.
So they said, I find it strange that even if one takes the vaccine, one still has to mask up and social distance.
Okay.
So I want you to shed some light on why this has to happen, because I think people don't understand why.
Okay.
Why is it that I took this vaccine, I still have to do these things? Is the vaccine not supposed to make me good to go? So
well, you're probably good to go, you as a person, because pretty much the benchmark of all these vaccines, not just AstraZeneca, is to prevent severe illness, hospitalization, and death. And that's what all of them do at 100% effectiveness right now. Okay? So you're good to go. It doesn't mean you can't have the virus. So you can have the virus and you can possibly still spread it, even though it reduces the chances of spreading it by up to 90% with this vaccine. Once you get your 2 doses, up to 90%, it would reduce that. But it's still a possibility that you still can. And if no one else is vaccinated or some people around you aren't vaccinated, then they can get severe illness, hospitalization, or death. So that's the reason behind that. So once enough individuals are vaccinated, then we can relax those protocols and policies and stuff like that. And hopefully we get back to a sense of normalcy. So that's the reason behind that, because you won't get sick. You should not get severely ill. You should not die or be hospitalized, but it's a possibility you can still spread it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing people
Right.
often
So
forget.
what you're saying in summary is that it just prevents you from succumbing to the virus itself. It doesn't protect you from catching it or whatever.
It does protect you.
Getting seriously ill.
It does protect you to a certain extent, up to 90%, right? But there's always that room for error. So, you know, for instance, let's say I work in a hospital, so I'm more likely to get in contact with a whole bunch of, let's say, sick patients who may have COVID-19, rather than someone who works at an office who doesn't get in contact with individuals regularly, you know? So let's say both me and you took the vaccine. I'm in more contact with individuals. I'm more likely to catch COVID-19 than you are because you're not interacting with that many people. So that's basically it. So many different factors come into play. So exposure would come into play and those type of things. But the thing is, it reduces the likelihood of you catching it, and it also reduces the likelihood of you passing it on, which is extremely important. If the virus can't be passed on properly, it doesn't have any host to jump to or live. It doesn't have a chance to mutate because one, the vaccine is always battling the virus okay.
Well, Doctor, it seems like we have someone that wants to ask you a question. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The vaccine that is being distributed in St Kitts and Nevis
Yes.
is given in 2 doses.
Yes, it is.
Is the chemical composition of each dose identical?
Yes, it is. It's the same exact vaccine. So the reason why it's given in 2 doses is because it gives your body a chance to look at this, the COVID-19 proteins that the vaccine has to build an immune response. So for instance, if it gives your body a chance to study it twice, so it builds up a better defense. That's basically why we have 2 doses, but it's the same thing. It just gives your body a second chance to look at it, so your body can build a stronger immune response for the second time, so we can reach to the 90%.
Does that mean that the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine is, in a sense, disadvantaged that the body does not get a chance to test it?
Well, it does have a lower effectiveness because I believe it only reaches around to 80-something% with a single dose. So it does have a lower effectiveness, but at the same time, the benchmark for all these vaccines are to prevent severe illness, to prevent hospitalizations and death, and the Johnson & Johnson does that as well, even with its single dose. So they all meet the criteria of what these vaccines should do.
Can you explain in every person's language the difference between efficacy and efficiency?
Efficacy and effectiveness?
And effectiveness, pardon me, yes.
Okay, so efficacy is basically a number that they get through clinical trials, usually a percentage. Okay, so when they're testing it out in the research and the studying stages. So usually, if you have, let's say, a group of 100 people, you divide it into half. You give the one half the vaccine and you give the other half nothing. You send them out into the world, and then, well, some time passes, and then you test them to see if they have COVID-19. So depending on the percentage of the individuals who get COVID-19 who are vaccinated, that's how the efficacy is determined. So let's say out of those 50, five of them who got the vaccine, out of the 50, 5 of them got COVID-19. All right, that will give you a percentage of 90%. That's the efficacy. So it's a 90% efficacy. So 45 out of the 50 didn't get COVID-19. So it gives roughly 90%, right? That's how you determine efficacy. But the problem with efficacy is there's so many different factors affecting it. Because like I mentioned earlier in the program, exposure has a lot to do with it. We don't know how exposed each and every individual is. We don't know how strong their immune systems are. We don't know what underlying illnesses that these individuals may have that may not have been picked up beforehand. Their age determines a factor. Whether they social distance, whether they hand sanitize, whether they go to mass gatherings or not. So that doesn't play, the efficacy doesn't play a factor in it. And so, for instance, the Pfizer and Moderna tested their vaccine during one of the lowest points of the pandemic, where there were low numbers of cases. So, and that's how their efficacy was so high, because there's less people to infect other people. So many scientists speculate that if they tested it during the height of the pandemic, then their efficacy would probably be much different, much more similar to like the Johnson & Johnson and the AstraZeneca, because there were just more people to spread it around now than it was then when they tested it. I hope that explains the efficacy for you. Regarding effectiveness, so effectiveness is what we see in the real world. So the effectiveness has to do with how does it actually work in reality. Are we getting decreased positive cases? Are we getting less hospitalizations due to COVID-19? Are we seeing decreased complications of COVID-19, even if you did catch it with the vaccine? So that's the effectiveness of the vaccine, in short, how it's actually doing in real life. And so far, it showed that it's 100% effective in preventing severe COVID-19 disease, hospitalization, and death. And that's the point that we've gotten to. So effectiveness has to do with real life. Efficacy has to do with a clinical trial where we don't really understand or have control over all these factors.
For the first time, I have clearly understood the difference between these two terms. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
Well, yay. I'm happy that somebody understood now, and hopefully more people did as well, because I don't know, I feel like the more you try to explain, the less people listen. They're just stuck in their ways with some of these things. And I could imagine it must be frustrating trying to get people to understand that, yes, we don't have any high cases, we don't have any community spreads and all of that, but this is why this is important as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it can be frustrating sometimes, but at the same time, everyone learns in their own way, in their own kind of manner. And it's kind of like if you're trying to educate someone in a certain about a certain topic, I think the best teachers or anyone, they can adapt to how this person learns best. So I try my very best to understand how they learn or how they take in information, and I try to adapt it towards that.
So we're speaking to friends of mine all the time about the vaccine and them taking it and all of that. They often bring up the fact that it feels like because the procedures in place work so well that they don't have a worry. Yeah.
I mean, it works very well, but those procedures in place, they're not sustainable. You know, it's almost like it's like I hate to use this word, a ticking time bomb, where everything will come crashing down eventually if we continue at that path. Okay.
We have another call. Caller, good morning. You're live. What's up?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
I'd just like to ask the doctor, do we expect when the second dose is taken, that the reactions would be the same, or would it be because it has been primed already, we can expect a more or less severe reaction?
Okay.
And why would people have different reactions in the first place if the vaccine is supposed to stimulate immune response? Yeah, why would that be? And the final question, how would we know how long the immunity would last?
Okay.
Is there a way of detecting that, or we just have to wait and see?
Okay.
Those are the questions, right?
Okay, so the first question is, would we have a more severe reaction with the second dose? Why do we have a reaction at all? So why do we have a reaction at all is basically the side effects, which would be fever, chills, body pain, etc. Some people may get nausea, some people may get vomiting, chills. That's actually your body building an immune response. So your body builds an immune response to counteract any foreign entity. So the vaccine is basically showing your body COVID-19 proteins, not the actual virus itself, but the proteins, and your body builds an immune response. So then your body will raise its temperature in response to that because it thinks it's battling COVID-19, right? It'll raise its temperature because we know heat kills germs, so that's what your body is doing, and your body is working in overdrive. That's how you'll get the body pains and stuff like that. The chills you feel is just a response of you having a temperature, and your body working in overdrive. So that's where you get the side effects, and because it's I guess a whole body response, that's why you get these body pains, the nausea and vomiting. So it can affect any system really, but those are the very common side effects. But it just means that your body's immune response is working, right? So why do people get different side effects? That's a very complicated question to answer. It kind of works like this. If you have a household and let's say everyone got the flu in the household, usually some people are a little more sick than others. Some people just have a little sniffle and then they can go to work and they're fine. Some people are knocked out for a week or two. It really just depends on the person, and it actually depends on how exposed they are to it and how their immune system reacts. So some people may have a very active immune response compared to others. You know, it's just an individualistic based response. So it's very hard to answer that specifically, but different people just have different reactions. And then there's the last question. I'm sorry, can you remind me of it?
He was asking how long.
The immunity lasts. So I mean, so far since last year, the immune response has been there. From since they've been giving people this, the immune response has been there. We can test for the different antibody levels that the vaccine produces, that your body produces from the vaccine, and to see if the levels are adequate enough to protect you. So far that has been there, but as to how long in the future it's going to last, we're not sure because we have to see how long these levels actually stay there.
Yeah.
It's hopefully we don't have to.
I know, right? In an ideal world.
In an ideal world, we don't have to. It would be great. But we don't want to take that chance. So that's why everyone's trying to get to that 70%, that herd immunity, so we can eradicate the virus. Like I previously mentioned, if there's no host or any livable environment for the coronavirus to live in, which is us humans, then it can't replicate, it can't mutate, it can't survive because the numbers are too low. I always use this example. Let's say if you had a town of 1,000 people and 950 people die, and there's only 50 people left, those 50 people can't run the town. That town's going to die out. And that's the same way the vaccine's doing. That's what the vaccine's doing to the virus. It's putting it in such a low state. It can't replicate, it can't thrive. So it's eventually going to die out. So even though you can catch it, that's what herd immunity does. It puts it at such a low level, it cannot thrive and it can't survive. I hope that answers your questions, caller. I'm sorry.
I hope so as well. Kevon, you were saying something?
No, I'm just glad that we're getting a chance to get these questions answered by somebody that can answer them. So if anybody has any questions on the live streams, feel free to put them there, and I'll of course read them out for you. But we don't have any other questions coming in yet from the live streams.
Well, we were talking about having to battle with the fact that the protocols worked so well that now people don't see the need to be vaccinated.
Well, you ever heard of the saying, your reward for good work is more work or something like that.
Yeah, I think I heard that one.
So I think that this perfectly fits in. You know, we did a really good job at keeping coronavirus out of the community here, and I think that may have, worked against us in some ways. We did a great job. So we're gonna try to do another good job in educating people to take this vaccine, hopefully.
Yeah, because I feel like that's one of the biggest things that people always say, oh, well, we don't have any cases and we have to quarantine and all these things, so why do we need to take this vaccine?
I mean, we can't quarantine forever,
Yeah, I don't think people remember that
we
side
can't.
of it.
We can't live in the bubble forever.
We can't live in the bubble forever.
In this perfect bubble since the beginning of this panic, and at some point it's going. I mean, we have seen the side effects of the bubble.
Yeah.
The economy has sort of shut down. We have no outside stimulation coming in. So at some point the bubble is going to have to be popped for things to continue.
I mean, and a country of our size, we it's very unlikely we can be self-sustainable. Very unlikely. And I know there's a lot of talk about agriculture and stuff like that and doing certain things, but I don't think that it would necessarily be sustainable at our size. And plus, the capital you would have to invest in for all these projects to go off the ground, where is that going to come from if we have nothing coming in? But that's not my field. I'm just going to speak to the medical. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And there's also this side where people forget that the vaccinations also expire if you don't use them after a certain time.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a challenge. But I think we will meet that goal, at least for this batch.
Oh, nice.
Based on how many people are getting vaccinated per day. If that continues, we should be fine. The real challenge would be the next set that comes in.
Well, I mean, if you take one dose, you should probably follow up, and I hope.
Oh no! Everyone who has gotten one dose has their vaccine waiting for them already.
Okay, I see what you mean.
They already have their vaccine. I'm talking about the next batch of 20,000 plus to get to. That's what I'm mostly concerned about. But I think we've been doing a good job, and we've so far. I mean, during this pandemic since last year, we've gotten over every hurdle that's been thrown our way.
That's good.
So we have a good track record of success. So hopefully we can get there again.
Okay, we have another call.
Okay.
Caller, good morning. You're live.
It is being stressed that we have been successful in preventing community spread of COVID-19 within St Kitts and Nevis. Does this mean in a perverse way that our success at limiting this spread means that we have failed in our efforts to make the populace aware of how dangerous COVID-19 is?
Lost connection? Okay. Well, I don't think necessarily expose, even though we were successful, necessarily exposing the population to COVID-19 would have been the best route to go, because of we have such a small population. Once someone gets sick and it starts to spread through the community, it's going to really damage the entire island. We would be debilitated, for lack of better words, because, for instance, if I work in a hospital. If 5 doctors are out in the hospital, we are short-staffed, we are on our heads, and I don't think St. Kitts can handle community spread because of our population size. I think we would be in serious trouble. So even though if we did have community spread, I think people would be more aware and would take it a little bit more seriously of how dangerous it can be. I don't think that would have been the way to go, or to call it a failure. I think our best bet is to just try to keep educating people, or at least, I'm sure people know of individuals overseas who have had come into contact with COVID-19. I know of tons of individuals.
Yeah,
myself,
I have friends that had COVID, and
it's not a good feeling. Maybe people don't know of people that personally, but they would know someone who knows someone at least, and their lives have literally changed because they've had it. Even though they've recovered, they're facing disability. They're tired. They can't work because of it. So these problems are real. So I wouldn't call it a failure. I think preserving life is the most important thing, so prevention.
So we have some comments coming in on the live. We have a few of them, so I'll just ask them as we go along. So the first one is, what happens if you don't take the second dose and you've already taken the first? What happens? Is there some sort of, what exactly happens?
Okay, so you're not as protected if you only take the first dose. So it drops all the way down to 60-something%. So that's what happens. And we don't know if you take one dose, if that immunity lasts this long as we've seen it last with the 2 doses. So I would recommend you definitely take the second dose because we have no idea how long that protection, and the lower protection would last without the second dose, because the second dose gives your body a second look to I guess fortify the immunity.
Okay.
Awesome. So another question is, someone is asking, what about persons who are breastfeeding or pregnant? Those persons cannot take the vaccine. Okay. Is there anything being done to ensure that they are protected as well? And if so, what are those things being put in place?
Okay. Just to quickly answer that, studies are coming out showing that people who are pregnant and breastfeeding can take vaccines, but I don't think we have made that a rule here in St. Kitts just as yet. We're waiting for more information about that to come out, because originally the studies, when they did it, they never included pregnant people or lactating women. So that's the reason. So individuals who are pregnant and breastfeeding, that's what herd immunity is there for individuals that can't take the vaccine. Okay, so the people who are maybe too sick or have allergies, or in the person's case who is breastfeeding or is pregnant, can't take the vaccine. But they would be able to take the vaccine once they've finished breastfeeding, or they're not pregnant anymore.
Okay, Kevon, we have
and then the last one.
We
have a call? Okay,
yeah.
let's take the call before we jump into the next one.
Okay, go ahead. The call got disconnected, yeah.
So the next person is saying, one of the fears is the speed in which the vaccine became available as compared to previous vaccines.
Okay.
The person is asking if you can address the science behind why this vaccine is produced so quickly.
Okay. So there's a few reasons. One, it's called, the real name of COVID-19 is SARS-CoV-2. So if you've heard about SARS before, the original one, it's very, very similar to this COVID-19 virus. So we had a lot of data on it because of there's so much similarities. So creating a vaccine from that data, because they were trying to do it for SARS and another version of it called MERS. And so we already had the data, so putting that data to use and creating the vaccine, that made it a lot faster. It made it a lot easier. Secondly, researchers didn't have to go out and look for money to conduct their research, because the whole world was already up in arms and the whole world was ready to spend money to get this pandemic over, So that's another factor. So the finances were in place, and we already had a head start on the data because we're looking at SARS. Thirdly, the administrative process of getting vaccines out were sped up. So they still did all the same research. They went through all the phases of the trials. They didn't skip a step. But the administrative process of signing off on, okay, this is okay to use. It didn't sit on a desk for months or anything like that. It was, it required emergency attention. So that's why everything got moved through the pipeline really fast. So that's basically why this vaccine got out quicker than the rest. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it did, for sure, for me at least. We have a call. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning again. Doctor, where are we with the testing? Because I know we're all about vaccinating now.
Yep.
But wouldn't fast, effective testing that can show, even if persons are asymptomatic, wouldn't that be just as useful as vaccinations in preventing community spread and isolating people who have it? People will be able to come in, get tested. If they have the virus, they can be isolated and attended to, and the other people who test negative just go about their business. So where are we now with the testing phase?
Okay.
And developing the tests that are better tests.
Okay. So the testing phase, anyone that comes into St. Kitts gets quarantined, and they're being tested at least 2 to 3 times during quarantine and 72 hours before they even come onto the plane. If they get a positive result through that 72 hours before they come on the plane, they can't come to St. Kitts. And the reason why that we have that timeline of testing for the 2 weeks is because sometimes the viral count may not be high enough in your body for the test to show positive, right? So currently we use what we call a RT-PCR test. So basically what that test does is, if there's enough virus from the swab that they take, it basically, you put it in an incubator or some type of machinery, and the machine, what it does is it multiplies that virus, so it lets the virus thrive. So then that's how you know it's a positive result, because it puts that swab in an environment. If there's a virus there, it will multiply and stuff like that. I'm trying to put it as the simplest way possible. And that's how we know if it's a positive test. Where we at better tests, so currently the PCR is one of the most effective tests, because it actually tells you if there is a virus there, because you have to, the virus can't multiply or grow if there's no actual virus when you take the swab. That's what the PCR does. So right now that's the gold standard test. There are other tests like antibody tests and stuff like that, which are quicker, right? But it doesn't tell you whether or not the virus is actually there. It might tell you that you've gotten exposed to the virus and you might have already passed it. So those tests are just, it wouldn't really serve a purpose for here. So that's why without quarantining and preventing community spread, because we wouldn't know if the person actually has the virus or if they were just exposed to the virus and have already passed it.
Kevon, you had another question?
Yes. Someone is saying, just put in a comment, they said, it's really sad that people like Cuthbert are doing so much to encourage, but these efforts are being manipulated by some media companies in the country where everyone is crying for normalcy. With every negative article that pops up, he's doing a great job, but those who claim to love this country and have great persuasive power have done nothing to assist his efforts. One other person, I think I'll read Azem's comment. If we have a call?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So Azem just wanted to say that he's very thankful for the forum like this that answers people's concerns with facts and grace, as opposed to other approaches that attempt to shame and coerce people into compliance. So thank you very much for coming on our show to answer the hard questions. They're not really hard, but the questions that people seem to not want to answer.
Because
thank you for having me.
And anytime, and not only that, like, I feel like there's ways for you to get people to do what you think is right, but bullying and shaming them isn't it. For some reason, we're starting to see this culture of you being shamed if you're not vaccinated or bullied.
Yeah.
And I don't think that will help at all.
Yeah, well, negative reinforcement doesn't work. That's been proven scientifically. You know, positive reinforcement works. That's the direction I believe that you should always go in. Negative reinforcement doesn't work. It just creates fear. It might work a little bit, but it doesn't work effectively.
Yeah, it does create fear.
It creates fear, and it creates a little bit of distrust, and it gets people angry.
Because instead of people seeing the benefits, they're going to be like, oh, so were y'all trying to encourage us to get vaccinated? There must be some conspiracy. And we already know with Facebook and WhatsApp.
Yeah, social media is already a forum where a lot of things can be taken as negative, even though it might be coming from a positive place. It can be taken as negative because people react to things differently. Okay, and they'll take it as negative, and then we may have like a bigger problem on our hands if too many people take it as negative. So.
Yeah, and that's the only part they share. I seldom find myself receiving videos or pictures or whatever messages about, you know, the positives and the benefits, and it's always, oh, see this conspiracy here, this company trying to make money here, the government trying to do this, or it's a lot, so it's very hard to weed out the good things, and I feel like the positives get drowned out a lot because of these reactions that we often have.
We need to focus more on the positives. You know, some days I actually say I'm not going to listen to any negative comments or any negative, even music. Anything that's negative, if it's heartbreak music, I'm not going to listen to that. Only positive, uplifting music, and I find that my day is a lot better. I'm more lively. I'm happier. So once you surround yourself with positivity, it actually works. You know, and drown out anything that could be preconceived as negative. And
I agree completely. But what I want you to do is tell the people again the after effects of COVID, because again, for some reason we're still stuck on the survival rate is this and nothing can really happen to you, and you know.
Well, the survival rate, they're right about that. The survival rate is pretty high, but what are you surviving to? What's your livelihood after? Some people may not have those complications, but a lot of people do. The chronic body pains, the blood clots to lungs, the psychological effects, the depression. A doctor recently who had COVID-19 committed suicide because he was so depressed afterwards, because of how it was affecting your body. The scarring on your lungs. So even if you recover, there's scar tissue on your lungs because of it. Because any type of serious inflammation or damage to your lungs can cause scarring, and that's what COVID-19 did or does. It affects your heart. I know someone personally that young in their 20s who now has the heart of a 65-year-old, and in their 20s, and they've had no medical condition before. And they caught COVID-19 and they haven't been able to work because of that. And they're a doctor. They're not here, but because of that, they're unable to work. So if you can see the damage that it can do to a person's life like that, their outlook on life must be completely different. You're young, you're in your 20s, you're starting your career, and your outlook on life is, I'm tired all the time, my body hurts, I have a heart of a 65-year-old. What kind of life is that? So those are the type of things you have to weigh when you're thinking of taking the vaccine or getting COVID-19, because those kind of complications aren't reversible. the damage in your lungs, that's not reversible. You know, the psychological effects, you can get therapy, but they'll always be there.
Because I remember one of my friends who did catch COVID. He was asymptomatic, I think, but he was battling so badly with the psychological, because every day he would see some article about somebody dying or the damage that COVID can cause, and even though he's asymptomatic, it's like he's waiting for himself to get sick, and it could play on your psyche daily. Yeah. And that's something that you don't want. Because if it was so bad for us just to be in lockdown, how that affected us mentally. Imagine now getting a disease that
you don't know what can happen to you.
Exactly. All you've been seeing is, you can die from this, or this can happen to you, or look how it's shutting down these countries, and then you happen to catch it. That like, how can you function normally every day?
It's a horrible feeling. No one wants to live in continuous worrying whether or not I'm going to live or die. How is it going to affect my life going forward, etc. No one wants to live like that. That's one of the worst feelings to have.
Yeah, it's, boy, I don't even want to think about even the possibility of getting exposed, like, because I actually was, well, not really. One of my friends who live here did catch it, and we were together, like, before the announcement, not right before, but so as soon as I heard it, I was,
you're mortified, right?
Yeah, because I'm already thinking, like, what if I do have it, and then I spread it to my family or to my coworkers or to my, my son is a toddler, and there were so many things that
ran through your mind.
Yeah.
And it will probably keep running through your mind until you know for sure that you're safe, etc. But going through that stressful period,
I was just waiting for the call to be like, so you're on this list and you need to go quarantine. Thankfully, it never came, and thankfully my friend got over it. But oh boy.
Yeah, no, it's not a good feeling. Stress kills.
It does, and that's another thing that we forget.
Stress kills.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't. I think I guess a question I have for you is most of the misinformation we receive.
Sorry, Kevon. Before you ask this question, let's just take this last call.
Okay.
Sure.
Caller, good morning. You're live. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're live.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
That may not know the answer, but why was there such a dramatic fall off especially in the United States, in the amount of cases, just over a short period of time? It was almost as if as soon as the past President Donald Trump left office, there was this dramatic drop. It was like falling off of a cliff.
Okay. So there's a few plausible explanations to that. Like one, during the election time, there were huge rallies, congregations. There was the whole the Black Lives Matter movement, where thousands upon thousands of people were gathering, and there were huge spikes. But once all of that kind of eased off, that would kind of decrease the amount of positive cases showing up. And two, America has been doing a very good job in vaccinating its population. It's one of the leading countries in the world that's doing a very good job in the rollout in their vaccination. So the countries that are being vaccinated very well, they're seeing the effects of that already. I'm not sure what their percentage is currently, but I know a few weeks ago they were at like 15 to 20% down on hospitalizations in certain areas that are highly vaccinated. Some states aren't, because every state is fighting for their supply of vaccinations. But those could be some of the plausible reasons as to why. And plus, that last administration was promoting a lot of unsafe practices in terms of social distancing, mask wearing, and then we have the anti-vaxxers there, and the anti-maskers where
anti-maskers,
where they literally would go to, I believe it was Congress or the Senate or something like that, and they would say, I have the right not to wear a mask, it is against whatever, blah blah blah. So these type of things caused an issue, but now we're seeing it improve. The vaccinations are getting into people's arms there, and the effectiveness of the vaccines are being shown, the real life effectiveness. So I hope that answers your question.
Kevon, you had a question, right?
Yeah, I get what the caller was saying. But then we also have to take into account that there was a lot of media sensationalism happening too. So there's also that. But the question I was going to ask is for the people who receive lots of information on WhatsApp and Facebook, which seem to be the primary places to get misinformation. How can persons who are not, tech savvy or research savvy dispel some of the things that they might come across? Like, what should they do if it's a forwarded message? What would you suggest they do with trying to decipher the information?
So whenever I'm trying to decipher any information, so I try not to read into much of the WhatsApp and Facebook stuff, but occasionally I'll take a look at it because I need to know what are people reading into, and I'd look at it. I'd say, okay, where is the source of this information coming from? So whether this information is coming from a legitimate source, maybe it's a source from the World Health Organization, then I would take a more serious look at it, and I'll go to the actual website of the World Health Organization and I'll back check this source to see if it's actually some truth into it. Some people send articles, but some people tend to only read the headline.
We spoke about that yesterday. We spoke about that recently, how people just read the headlines of things and stop.
And the problem is with a headline. The headline is supposed to grab your attention. That's what the headline is. It's supposed to grab the reader's attention, just to take a look at it. But when you read into the context of many things, usually it's a lot of fluff, and it doesn't really say much, and it doesn't say anything that is necessarily a fact, especially about misinformation about, let's say, the vaccine. It's usually a lot of fluff around it, and if you actually read into detail about it, they have no solid ground to stand on, for the most case. If I do find, okay, this is something I should look into, I will go into further. I'll go into the research papers about this, what have they found, etc. Then I'll do my own research, because everything right now is so progressive right now, and it's evolving, and I have to stay on top of everything every day. So I hope that answers your question, Kevon.
My fear with people doing their own research is that you can find facts to back up your theories all the time. Well, not facts, but you could find some information
to back up the theory, but
and it could be the wrong theory, and then you'd go down this rabbit hole of conspiracies.
I mean, if you search hard enough, you can find something or someone that believes in the same thing you do.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, whatever you believe in, has it been tested? Has it been proven without a doubt? So far,
they don't usually go into that part. They just
you have to. Otherwise, then you can't say that's a fact. You can't say. I mean, science itself, nothing is necessarily a fact, but it's been continuously tested and proven to be safe or effective, and that's how science works. That's how it works for anything in science, not just vaccines, anything. And that's the route you should go down, but lots of people don't have the time to go down that route. Like I'm going to keep questioning something until I'm comfortable with it. Last year I was questioning all of these vaccines until the research showed, and it made me comfortable with them because they were tested rigorously, and the results showed this. That's why I feel comfortable. So that's the best way forward, even though it's time consuming. Not many people do it.
Yeah.
You know.
But for people who may not have the time, like where could they find legit information, helpful information that would answer the hard questions that they may have, just in case they miss this show for some reason or miss all of the other things that have been happening to educate people? Where can they actually find legit information?
I would go to the World Health Organization. I keep saying them just because I know they're a body that doesn't really have any bias. They're not for a company. They're not for a company. They're not for a certain country. They're not for this and that. So whenever you represent a company, whenever you represent a country, you have an inherent bias. No matter what you say, you'll have an inherent bias because that's where you're from. That's who you represent. So you'll always have a bias. The World Health Organization only represents health, and I think health is all that we should be focusing on right now. So that's why I always mention them. I think they're a really good legitimate source. Yes, they're the CDC and stuff like that, but that's an American-based organization. So even though they represent health, they also represent America in a way, and their decisions on how they do things. So
they're based on the best, what's best for America.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Dr. Kent, before we leave, because we've run out of time, can you just tell people where they can go to get their vaccines if they have not gotten them as yet?
Okay. So you can go to any one of the health centers on island and in Nevis to get your vaccines. They usually start at about 1. You can either call in before to your respective health center or call 311 and you can go get the vaccine, or I know some people who just go and show up and there's vaccines available for them and they can just go in and just get the vaccine.
Okay.
All
okay,
right.
good stuff. I hope everybody listens to this and digests this information. We will also clip this out and spread it across our social media so you could share the mini clips to your friends and your family, and you know, this information may help somebody that has questions still. Kevon, Tuesday is finished. Just like that.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, jeez, yeah. It is hump day tomorrow. I can't do it as good as Azem. Azem has this hump day thing going on. He's very excited for Wednesdays, which I am too, because that means that it's halfway through the week.
Yeah.
Oh, for Cutie, do you get oh, I called you Cutie anyhow. That is his nickname, people. Doctor, do you have any weekends? I know that you're such a busy person. That do you get breaks?
I get about 2 days a week.
What? That's a lot.
Roughly 2.5, 1.5. Sorry.
Well, being an Avenger for St Kitts is a full-time job, and so.
Oh, that was excluding the vaccination stuff. I don't get any breaks right now.
Never mind. As I said, an Avenger's job is never done, and right now you're part of the St. Kitts Avengers when it comes to health. So, people, y'all stressing out the doctors here. The quicker y'all get this over with, the quicker they can get some rest. I know they need some rest.
Just do what you need to do now. Like, you know what you're supposed to do, just do it. Everybody needs to take a break. Like,
yeah.
Including you. Just do what you need to do.
The doctors and the nurses and the frontline workers and the NEOC haven't taken a break since how long now?
Last year.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, February. Yeah.
So it's basically a year and a month since you've taken a break from.
Yeah, it's tiring, but you know.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know because I don't do it, but you know.
Yeah, you got to do it right.
Yeah, you do. This is a part of your job and you're doing it well. So we appreciate you coming here and continuously giving the information and answering questions. It's really appreciated.
Thank you guys for having me again. You know, Shannon, I'm on your tail.
Yes. You're chasing that.
I'm chasing the record.
Yes.
Coming for the record.
But Kevon, as usual, before we go, we have to hear some words from our former fave. Still a fave, but you know.
From our former Captain Confusion.
Yes.
Please drive safely and do right by others. Please use our roundabouts correctly. Meaning, don't overtake in our roundabouts. Don't switch lanes in our roundabouts. And when you're exiting, please indicate so that folks driving behind you can know what your intentions are. It will reduce accidents and almost accidents by significant proportions.
Stay in your lane, people.
Stay in your lane, figuratively and
literally.
Also, please let us remember to park our vehicles in a manner which is conducive to the collection of garbage from our friends at solid waste. If you park your cars irresponsibly, then people can get their garbage collected with the trucks.
Clean.
So gentlemen, when you're thieving a piece, please park around the corner,
right,
so the truck can get up the street or where your madam lives to collect her trash.
Indeed. It might work out better for you too. Indeed.
It's going to be a clean environment when you get there the next time. Also, let us please, put pressure on our lawmakers and our policy makers and our policy designers and wheelers and dealers in Parliament to take a look at our outdated laws, all of them. The traffic laws, the sexual assault laws, the everything as it relates to, so that they can relate to current day life and current day society here in St Kitts and Nevis. Update them so it's a reflection of what's actually happening and not what used to happen in the 1960s. And with that, I will turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, His Excellency Honorable Kevon Hanley.
Mr. Ellsworth, this is your time to shine.
It is. And remember that you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
All right, later, everyone.